Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and today we've got some actually really special things for you. We're going to do our general top player thoughts for Elixir. We've got like 30 top players and what they think of the brand new card Elixir. They are not as unanimously negative as you would think, although there is going to be a lot of negativity in that section. I will also give you my take on the card at that point. We've got a ridiculously good meta breaker, mirror breaker, Thanos Destroy, but we got to kick it off right now with something special. This is for those of you who don't know, there's a global bounty going on. What that means is if you play with certain specific cards and win games with them, you are adding those wins to the total points that like all of the Marvel Snap players get as a whole. If we get to 40 million points, and we're at like 10 million right now, but if we get to 40 million points, everyone gets a free snap pack. Our friend Perry Manilow, one of my favorite streamers, has created a 7 bounty card deck. It's not the best deck, right? And if you're not infinite, for the love of God, don't play this on ladder. But it has like a 48-49% win rate, and it's got 7 cards. So every one of those wins is amplified 7 times. That's incredible exponential growth. If we all start taking this into like Conquest, if those of you who are infinite and don't care about your rank start playing this on ladder and this wins some games, we're going to hit that 40 million. So props to our friend Perry Manilow, who you can find at twitch.tv/Perry Manilow. If you'd like to see him win a bunch with this deck, please do check out his videos on demand on that Twitch. And if you'd like to get to know him through me, this Friday night at something like 8 p.m. Eastern, he and I are co-streaming the Nick game. In fact, you would have gotten 2 videos today, but the Knicks managed to blow a ridiculous lead and lose in overtime, and thus it is very late, and so you're only getting 1 video, and we're jamming these 2 videos into one. This deck doesn't actually need anything. Nico can be Squirrel Girl, because that's pretty nice for your Killmonger. Esme can be Mobius or Venom. Mobius because that's pretty nice for your Pixie. Pixie and Surge can be Carnage and Firehair. So, I'm not going to go card by card here. I'm just going to say that this is running these cards specifically to play into the global bounties. Once in a while, you're going to be able to steal games because you've got a 3/4 null in the right locations. Worked great. Once in a while, you're going to get a Wong out and you're going to gambit the right things and get wins. You're going to be able to like go gambit and steal a lane, and then you're going to go Wolfsbane and steal another lane, and that gambit's going to give you a Wolverine in play. Stuff like that is what makes this deck work. Stuff like that is what makes this an effective list. The real key, though, the like secret key to winning games with this is just Pixie. You Pixie, and all of a sudden, like your death is like free, even if you haven't destroyed all that much with your Killmonger, and like you're just like, oh, I'm really going to town here, and you're able to win that way. This is, again, not a powerful list, not a consistent list, but it is really, really fun and very wild. So, again, the goal of this is to claim the global bounties. We'll get to that Thanos list momentarily after this. Turn 1, you want X23. Turn 2, Surge over Pixie. Turn 3, Esme. Once you play Pixie, the turn by turn is gone. Just do whatever. Turn 3, Esme over earlier plays. Monger, if a bunch of 1s are out, and a bunch of 1s being out generally at this point in the game would mean they're playing Thanos. Turn 4, Wong over a 3. You can also just drop a Killmonger here if you have a null in hand and want to get null out. If you want to get null out here, that usually means that other things have been destroyed, or you're going to gambit on the last turn. So null, if you can, is better than gambit on Wong or Wolfsbane on Wong. You can also play Monger either on or off Wong if you have X23 out, doubling, getting 2 extra energy on the last turn. Turn 6 is Death Null or Gambit Wolfsbane, and then you should be able to win. This list is really solid. It's not going to win every game, right? It's going to be outpowered sometimes, but playing good Marvel Snap cards and playing intelligently will win you games. And even if you're playing this instead of a 55% win rate deck, right? 7 times value is more than those like 6-7 percentage points. Play it. Let's give everyone a free snap pack. I'm going to take this onto Conquest in my next stream. Wait for it. Before we get to the key deck of the day, please hit that sub, like, and comment, as I'm trying my very best to grow this channel, and your support means the world. We give you a video every day and at least 3 new decks every day. If that sounds good to you, hit that sub button. In addition, we're giving away an Esme Cuckoo this week. All you have to do is sub, like, and comment. I'll tell you what comment to leave later this video. This happens in every video, and we give away 1 a week until the end of the season when we give away 5. And now, our key deck of the day, Toxic Soul King's Thanos Destroy. Another one of my favorite people in this game, another one of my best friends in the game. Toxic Soul King has an absolutely incredible Thanos Destroy that he decided to put together and started absolutely crushing with. The trick to Thanos Destroy is that because it runs Killmonger, because it runs Lady Deathstrike, it ends up being really, really, really strong into Thanos mirrors. We tried a lot of different versions of it, but it seems like this one has the highest win rate at high infinite, which means it's likely to end up having the highest win rate as it moves down on the ladder. The creator of this list you can find at twitch.tv/Toxic Soul King. He is Austrian, but he like never sleeps. He literally streams almost all night, most nights of the week. So show him some love and support for his sacrifice for the community. This deck needs Thanos, Mockingbird, Luna, and Wiccan. I know that Luna is really obnoxious here. You can try Fastos there. Try Fastos there. I think Luna is significantly better, but like if you must, you can try Fastos. Surge or Firehair, you're gonna need one. Can be Carnage. Red Guardian can be Rogue. You do want to try and have a way to answer Mobius. Mobius is very annoying for this list. Misery can be Venom or Carnage. All right, let's go card by card. So the hood is very easy to destroy, whether through Killmonger, Deathstrike, or Misery. You're perfectly happy. When you destroy that hood, you end up with multiple fire hair triggers, which can give you more demons. 1/6s are incredibly strong. If you have a bunch of 1/6s and a cheap 12, you usually win the game. That is one of the main strategies. Surge, making everything cheaper, obviously makes life extraordinarily easy. That can mess up your Wiccan curve, which is part of the reason Luna is here. If you get a couple Surge triggers and you have Luna, you fundamentally done a build your own Wiccan at that point. But just being able to play stones in this list is important, and while being able to play other things because you do want to destroy them. Firehair is here largely to double your destroys, although that extra Killmonger Killmonger and that extra Red Guardian, particularly that extra Red Guardian that is a Firehair in a different lane, are both very powerful things to do. Luna is a ramp card that has the same power as Wiccan, and if you play it well, you can mess with your opponent. Same thing for Wiccan. Wiccan is just a ramp card. These ramp cards are very important. Misery and Lady Deathstrike. Remember, you're not running Venom. You're not running Carnage here. Misery and Lady Deathstrike are non-Killmonger destroy cards, and if you want to get them out, having that extra energy is a very important place to be. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully nothing just popped up on my screen because I definitely got an ad block pop up right in the middle of me talking there. Sorry about that. So Misery and Lady Deathstrike are your destroys. Lady Deathstrike can be used offensively and defensively. You can use it just to get rid of a bunch of stones, retrigger Killmonger, etc., etc. Retrigger, Red Guardian, and like all that good stuff. You could also use it to destroy that opposing Mobius really, really effectively. Misery works much the same way, especially on turn 5. Misery on Surge doesn't really have a downside. You're just going to get -2 on your next card. Sometimes in a Thanos list, that'll be a stone, but like whatever, so be it. You should be able to work around that. Mockingbird is meant to be played reasonably early before you start doing your destroy stuff. You get a Mockingbird out, then you destroy all the stuff, and you have plenty of space and a cheap death too. Thanos gives you the stones, is often a 5/12, can't be destroyed. That can be played anywhere. It's a good card. And then, of course, Death is a cheap, ideally free, but fairly often like 1 or 2 12. And if you have, again, 1 or 2 12 with a cheap 9 on the board and then a bunch of like 1/6s, you usually win that game of Marble Snap. So, this is with this list, Toxic Soul King went 20-9. That's a 71% win rate. And this is the part that meant this had to be the main deck of today. Plus 51 cubes. That is 31 games for 51 cubes. That is freaking absurd at high infinite. Play the list, friends. Just go play this list. Turn 1, draw Overhood. Turn 2, Surge if no destroy, Firehair if destroy, overdraw. Turn 3, 2/1 is better than Luna. You can also drop Mockingbird whenever you can here. Turn 4, Wiccan is better than Lady Deathstrike or Misery. And when Lady Deathstrike and Misery do their thing, when Misery draws you a million cards and like gives you an extra super powerful thing to do, feel free to snap it. When Lady Deathstrike wrecks their game plan, feel free to snap that. Turn 5, Lady Deathstrike or Misery, same snap condition. You can also do Monger and Stones. And now if you've got like free Death and like 2 or 3 free Demons, you can also once more snap. Turn 6, Death and or Thanos, Death and or Demons, etc., etc. Win the damn game. This list is disgustingly good. Huge props to Toxic Soul King for, I think, finally cracking the alchemy that is Thanos Destroy. We've been very close on this deck for a while. It's almost been meta. It's been good, but not quite great. I think we finally cracked it, friends. Give this one some play. I don't think you'll regret it. And I don't know if you know about this, but this Saturday, we're streaming the Nick Game Friday night. We're streaming the podcast tonight. This Saturday, we're going to be streaming my run in the first ever official Marvel Snap tournament at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. It starts at 12 p.m. Eastern if you want to come watch me. If you'd like to watch the official stream, it's at twitch.tv/MarvelSnap. It is run by Gunny T, models, and cast by Super Tech God, Guest, and KM Best. So go check it out. Please check out the stream. And if you'd like to win a season pass, you just answer this very simple question. What deck would you take to the tournament? You don't have to say like every card. What's the archetype? What's your pick? All right, top player thoughts for Elixir. This is most of the positive ones. So Husky Puppies 35, whose deck we're going to look at momentarily, says best analogy I have is a Red Wing, but maybe worse. Look, Red Wing is one of my favorite underrated cards in the game. It's also one of Husky's favorite underrated cards in the game. Elixir's decent according to that analysis. I'll give you my analysis at the end of the second top player thoughts. Philly says meh, but incredibly fun. Splat says, I think it's more a tech card than a build around. Reasonable. Although Husky's deck and the next deck we're going to look at, we've got two more Elixir decks, are both going to be build rounds. Zenade is the high man, very positive player on it. So fun, good card, adds a lot to Fire, Hair, and Misery. Cool, fair enough. CHG says, I don't think it's as bad as people think, just very average and bland. I just want to say bland is not the word I would use. Average, maybe. I think its power level may be average, but this is not a bland card. I think it adds some really cool stuff. Zeraco says he's mid in the Misery Shell. We need to wait until Kid Omega, but he is mostly the 13th card. Yeah, let's keep Kid Omega in mind. Kid Omega is going to come up all the time. For example, Shang Enjoyer says always the 13th card of the entire deck that enters, maybe with Kid Omega, but I highly doubt it. Cougar says I think he needs Kid Omega as a boost or his last turn restriction removed. Last turn restriction removed was my idea. I think that oh wait, no, I want him to just revive the highest power card, not last turn, not last turn, but whatever. Doc Guapo says I think it's a good future card, needs more tools. Sizer says it has powerful interactions like extra Grimfold triggers, but I'd still wait for it to be buffed or discounted. Toxic Soul King, hey Toxie, we just talked about him. Without the fact that I don't like his archetypes, mid card that needs later on more support by new cards. I.e. Kid Omega. Skosko says not as bad as I thought, honestly, but still pretty bad. And Blue Tier says he's not as bad as everyone thinks he is, just a niche card right now that I think is definitely going to age well. Cool. Husky's Hot Hand is the first deck we're going to talk about for Elixir today. This is the most consistent Elixir deck I played. I think the high rolls in this current meta with Thanos and all these powerful cards, I still had a ton of success with Splat's deck from yesterday and Bitswiddle's deck from yesterday, but this list felt more consistent. There is one thing that is probably wrong with this list. Kahori should probably, not necessarily, but probably just be Cassandra Nova. But this list puts out a frickin' crap ton of power. Like this list is very, very good at just dropping points. Its utter lack of tech outside of Killmonger sucks though. So you can find Husky at twitch.tv/HuskyPuppies35. He's one of Marvel Snap's biggest and best streamers and one of Marvel Snap's top players. This deck needs Victoria Hand, Misery, Frigga, Firehair, Elixir, and Kate. It's an expensive list. Sorry. That's one of the things that's going to hold back Elixir. A lot of the decks that run him well are fairly expensive. Sage can be Wolfsbane here. Yay, global bounties. Kahori can be Cassandra Nova, and think probably should be. Surge can be Grandmaster, Iron Patriot, or just Mirage. So the hood is here largely to be destroyed. Having extra Deems of Victoria Hand is always a good deck, right? Surge making things cheaper is important because you just want to play a bunch of stuff here. It's entirely possible that even though I said Surge is required, it could be Quinjet, except then you're anti-synergying with Killmonger and you sort of run into like this mess. If you can manage to play around that, it could be, but I think Surge is just too important. Elixir is here. You're supposed to be Venoming or Misering either Kahori or Sage, and then you play Elixir to get one of those two back. That is the goal. You would like to destroy Hood on one turn, and then the next turn destroy the Sage or what did I say? Sage or Kahori. And if you can pull that off, your Elixir is going to be crazy, crazy strong now. Your Elixir is now getting a double buff Sage or triple buffed if potentially Misery, or the same thing from Blit Up Kahori. Like Kahori is just going to keep buffing your whole damn board. And meanwhile, as you're doing this because you destroyed the card, Fire Hair is going to trigger it too. So Elixir works really, really well in this as this giant buff card. Fire Hair, you're destroying stuff, so you just want extra triggers, so you destroy. Kate's here for Victoria Hand. Having those extra cards is really, really nice for Victoria Hand. I had a really good time against Thanos with this because I was picking up so much points and they weren't interacting in ways that mattered to me. But Kate's arrows are just really big with Victoria Hand. Victoria Hand is here to be buff the cards you generate and also buff get copied by Frigga. Sage is also just a good Frigga copy. So if you're going to go Sage 3, Frigga 4, that's not like the worst thing in the world to do. Especially if you're like going to go Frigga and then Hood, and then you can Killmonger that off on the next turn with Fire Hair, and you're just like cooking at that point. So don't be afraid to Frigga that, but Frigga for that or Victoria Hand is good. Sage is here to be destroyed or Frigga'd. Monger is here for the Hood and here for the Thanos matchup, which is all over the frickin' place. Venom is your backup Misery. You would generally rather Misery, especially if you have Fire Hair out, but because then you're gonna get the extra, like 3 triggers of a card. But Venom keeping its power, the power of what you destroy is pretty good, in particular with Kahori, because then you just have this 9 power card. Uh, if you have Fire Hair out, that 9 power card is also gonna rebuff everything. Which, again, really good stuff here. Don't be afraid to, if you eat a bunch of stuff with Venom on turn 4 or 5, copy that with Frigga as well. Kahori is a giant buff to the whole board. Be a little careful with it because sometimes you're buffing things you end up destroying with Killmonger. But if you do destroy a buff thing with Venom, you at least keep the power. And of course, Misery is your last destroy, works as extra on reveal. So turn 1 Hood, turn 2 Surge over Firehair, Victoria Hand if you're going to Frigga. Turn 3 is a 2, or obviously the Victoria Hand or Frigga thing. Turn 4 Kahori or Misery on Hood. Turn 5 Generate cards and Venom, Misery and Hood is fine. So is Venom on Kahori. You can also have Frigga, a Sage, or Venom at any point around turn 4 or 5. Turn 6 is meant to be Victoria Hands, Elixir, and Demons. And as soon as you realize you have that kind of setup at the end of the game, that you can play like 2 to 3 8-power Demons, Victoria Hand, you should be good. If you play 2 Demons, Victoria Hand, and Elixir's getting back like either a Sage or a Kahori, you can also snap that. As soon as you realize you have this, you should probably snap because you are putting up very, very powerful lanes while being just disruptive enough. This list does have a weakness in its lack of tech cards because there's just not space for one. You never have energy to play a Shang-Chi, right? And you don't want Shadow King in your Kahori deck as a general rule. So there's not like a tech card you're really dying for here. But regardless of that fact, this is a very strong and very consistent list that I had a lot of success with. I think I had a 66% win rate and I believe like 12 games with it. Fun, powerful list. Our other top player thoughts for Elixir. All right, so I didn't write down the exact words, but Honifer, Salty, Ika, and Lambie all said like 4 words that amounted to bad LOL, terrible LOL, ass LOL, something along those lines. So 5 top players thought this was bad. Of those 5 top players, I'm only convinced Ika actually tried the card, though. I think a lot of the other people who are saying that this card is bad are going on reputation. Danish says he's not great. I thought it'd be cool as a Shrine counterplay, but it doesn't do that. It definitely is not Shrine counterplay because it's last turn. Worm says he's the flavor of the week. That'll die off. Maybe Kid Omega could make him work, but until then, he's just a C grade card. Hey, I'm excited to see how they buff it. Pretty unplayable currently. If Kid Omega is coming, we're going to have to wait for Kid Omega. If not, I think they're going to buff it, is how that seems likely to work. W says, I'm excited to see how they buff it. Oh, sorry. Vane says, at the moment, Elixir is too cute. You're jumping through too many hoops for what value he brings. Much like how Jet is determined to make Phoenix Force and Misery work in every deck under the sun, you could make Elixir work, but he's too much effort for the output. It's a really good take. Whether he's too much effort for the output is obviously going to depend on the player, but that Jet comparison does make sense to me. JD McDonaldinho didn't get him, but this was too good of a comment to take. It was 50-50 to get Elixir or Kahori in my snap pack. I got Kahori. I think that's the high roll. Heart of the Cards says, bad card. Don't think a quality pack exists for him at the moment. Scala says, seems bad. If Kid Omega comes out, could become decent. Lots of Kid Omega takes. The Pirate King says, doesn't have the right pieces yet, but not something to immediately write off just yet. And Unhelpful Yoda, who creates a lot of great decks, says, very niche card, allows for a couple cool interactions, but too unreliable at the moment. 3 out of 10, def needs a buff. And very quickly, I'm not going to make you stare at the card, as we look at what the last deck of the day is going to be, I think that they're going to either buff this card to be great or Kid Omega's coming. I have a really strong feeling that this is going to be very good down the line. When it works, it really works. Like, I've had a lot of games of Ajax in 3 lanes, of Lofty in 3 lanes. I've had a lot of games of bringing back Sages and Cassandra Novas that are just huge and lane winning threats. That kind of thing with Elixir is so strong that if I had a Kid Omega so I can do that on command, right? Like if I could just play the stupid Sage, right? And immediately have it be destroyed and keep its power, and then I could play Elixir the next turn, I think that's incredibly powerful. Or if he just said highest cost card, so that I could like Venom a pile, including like a Misery or something, and then if I Elixired, I can get back that freaking guarantee it's that Misery. Either of those, and I think this is a genuinely great card. Cool. That doesn't mean go get it. Again, obviously, uh, given the snap pack system, you should be in no rush to get Elixir. If he ends up good, you can just buy him with tokens later down the line. There's not a downside to it. But I do think this card's going to end up really good. I just want to weigh that in right now. I want to lock that take in. I think this card is going to be very, very good later. All right, so this list is a small Affliction list that runs a lot of really cool stuff with Elixir. while being able just puts up a ton of power in really unconventional ways. Like I was like, where's Victoria Hand? And then I realized it's not even remotely Victoria Hand. It's a very cool list from our friend Phil J. Woodward. You can find on twitter.com/Phil J. Woodward, who apparently is judging my glasses. Phil. All right, Elixir, Cassandra, Diamondback, and Misery are needed. That's right, we got 2 decks today that Elixir are actually needed for. Firehair can be Grandmaster. Sage can be Wolfsbane. Killmonger was Nebula, but I've seen too much Thanos and got annoyed. It can be like a million cards. You can throw lots of stuff in there. It like whatever good 1 or 2 drop you want is perfectly fine there. Surge makes a lot of sense. So Hazmat is here largely for an end of game play. If you've got Luke out, Hazmat can play for a ton of points. I explained this yesterday, but I just want to make it clear again. Hazmat on Wong at the end of the game on a Thanos board is like a 24 power play. You generally like to have 2 24s, right? That's a good thing to have access to in Marvel Snap. I thought so too. If you have Luke, obviously that is how you do that, so you don't take the downside your opponent does. The other thing it does is if you can play it on your opponent has a full lane, that is a 3/11 for a Diamondback. Elixir is here for after you've destroyed something using, again, Misery or Venom. The thing you're trying to destroy here are, once more, Cassandra Nova and Sage. Getting either one of those back is incredibly, incredibly powerful, especially if you decide to get them back late game on Wong. That is insane. Like, if you play Wong, you play Cassandra, then you play Sage or you play Cassandra, Sage, and Wong in different lanes, right? Cassandra, Sage, and Wong in different lanes. Then you spend a turn eating one on turn 5. That's then turns part of your turn 6 can be Elixir to get that card back. And then yeah, you can play that on Wong, and then you just get the double trigger of the returned Cassandra or Sage, and you're really cooking with gas. That's generally what you're trying to do. Firehair gives you extra triggers of all the stuff. If you're going to destroy Sage, why not get an extra Sage trigger out of it? If you're going to destroy Cassandra, why not get an extra Cassandra trigger out of it? Scorpion is here for Diamondback. It's also just decent power. It tends to play as like a 2/5, 2/6, sometimes 2/7. Pretty good. Works well with Diamondback. If you don't get Hazmat, you can just go Scorpion and Cassandra, and almost all the cards the opponent plays will have -1, and that works well. Cassandra is like the key destroy target here. Um, if you can take like 3 power, 2, 3 power off the cards that the opponent plays, and then get that like 11, 12, 13 power Cassandra back, it's usually pretty good. Sage is a fine destroy. It's like your backup Cassandra here, because Sage is also just incredibly strong on Wong on the last turn of the game. It'd be nice if we could find a way to get an extra energy in here so that we can do that at the end, but say Levy. Like, so we could just go Wong and Sage at the end would be very strong. Luke is here for your Hazmat and Diamondback stuff. Diamondback is a 3/11. That's great. Sage is that without Wong or less, so it's really nice. Um, Ooh, maybe it should be Frigga. I could see it being Frigga. Let's add Frigga in that Killmonger spot. Killmonger is a swing spot. It's here because Thanos was pissing me off. Venom is your backup destroy to Misery, but again, keeping the power is reasonably nice. Um, Misery is like so many. If you have Firehair, if you go Firehair Cassandra Nova, right, and then you play Misery on Cassandra Nova, you've got like 4 Cassandra Nova triggers, and their last 2 cards are just dead draws, right? Like they're at like -1 from Cassandra Nova, -2 from Misery, -3 from Firehair. And then when you bring it back the next turn with Elixir, that's -4 power for the last card they draw. Pretty nice. Nice list. All right, so turn 1 pass, turn 2 Firehair over Scorpion, turn 3 Cassandra over Sage, turn 3 Misery or Venom on Caster Sage. You can also feel free to just drop Wong. Turn 5 Hazmat and Dimeback. If you played Wong, you can also now do your destroy stuff. Turn 6 Elixir and Luke or Sage. And then you win. Lots of power, really, really cool stuff. I don't know how else to say it. This is a very, very cool little brew that I think is worth playing. Again, once our friend Kid Omega comes out, it takes that extra spot in this list, and then you can just play Cassandra Nova and immediately trigger that with Firehair out, and you're just like boom, boom, let's go. You're gonna have like a 9 power Firehair immediately, like a 9 power Kid Omega, and then you can Elixir to get that Firehair back, and we're just cooking with gas. I think that this is coming. I think that this kind of list is on the rise. Get ready. It's coming. That's it for today. Certain support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. Check out patreon.com/snapjudgments if you're interested. I'm going to say thank you to our patron of the month, Bricks to Click, the great Abigail Giesland, hey AG, Mandatory Burnout, who I haven't seen around in a while. I need to reach out. Burnout, if you're seeing this, shoot me a message. It regardless, always kind, LAB Inc. I am Frostman. Hey Frosty. Hota Neverete Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Ren Wrench, Caretix Lee, Koirei, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Perofrost, The Goat Seeker, Code, Hollowed, Only Fox, Synth, Fat Nick, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, Dirty, Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philly, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Notorious Bizza, also notorious as Black Sheep 23, Extras V and Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, Jessica Gamble, Sup Jess, Slush Death, how you doing? Kinker Bros, Bro, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kepsi Hoda, Lunar Chris, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Silverman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., Mr. Craig Sterry, Matt V., Corey, Corbin, John Q, and Jimmy McHugh. Keep down your stout, 8th Sage, One Big Bad, Lookman for reals, Cactus, Jack, hey Cactus, Reapsar, BG, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decision Show, Dick Carlo, Models, Mod Supreme, Bickety Boom Bop, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan, 56, The Fuzzy Lump, Spectrumix, Hoot, Acu, Ocularis, Sup, Acu, oh, hang on, Hoot, congrats on that infinite bud, Matt H, DJ Mikey Hijinks, no frickin' flex, Nick, Duh, Greek, Geek. I wonder if he's free. I should message him. I should go to sleep, but what are you gonna do? Zodrix! Did I say toxic? Toxic! Zodrix, the king of Canada! Dead Man Falcon, Fa, Thor, Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, the Great Lord Whatevs, the Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunny T. The T stands for today's video is over. I will see you tomorrow. I'm gonna try and do a top 10 decks. Hopefully it is different enough for you. Peace.